That is the key to self-awareness, finding out where you are currently in your life.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode with Tiff and Tony. Tony, hello, welcome. How are you doing today?
I am well, thank you. Both of us are outdoors today. I'm here at a coffee shop in Irvine, and you are outside in a wonderful location that is not a fake background.
It is not a fake background. I am out. I don't know if this is considered high desert, but I don't know. I'm in between Phoenix and Sedona, somewhere in some mountains in Arizona.
Yes, that's nice. Right. Yeah, so that's interesting that you kind of know where you are.
I mean, I know on a map actually where I am, but I figured that would be I'm near a really small town called Payson, I guess. I haven't been to it yet, but it's really small. So I figured most people probably wouldn't know where that is. So
no, but the reason I say this is a interesting way to say I'm kind of here is because that's how many people live their life. Right, they're like, well, I'm kind of here in my life, and they don't necessarily know where they are, which comes into our conversation today around self-awareness.
Yes, I love this conversation. For one, it's something that we talk about in depth with the kids, and also it's just so human. To have self-awareness means that you have this accurate view of your thoughts, your emotions, your values, and not only understanding and acknowledging your emotions, but being able to manage them in a healthy way. And there's so much more to that. And part of the reason we want to talk about self-awareness today is because self-awareness is one of the keys to success, whatever your version of success is. And if you've been watching the Tiff and Tony Show for a little while, you probably know that success to us isn't necessarily business success. It's not a success in a box, that culture might hold over us. Success is what you value in your own life as success. It's personal to you. And so, Tony, what do you think about self-awareness? Why do you think it's important? And what are some tools do you think we can use? We can get to that at the end of how we can prepare ourselves and grow in this area.
So I love this conversation, and I love the idea of actually tying it into the journey, right? Just like success is a journey, not a final destination. And so what I do with the kids that I work with, and we're talking about self-awareness, is say to them, if you were going to go on a journey to somewhere in Europe, if you were going to go to France and you knew that was your final destination was France, and you had to plan the journey, what is one of the things that you need to find out first? What's the first thing you need to find out if you're going to go on a trip to France? Well, kids talk about the weather, flights, how much, have I got enough money, and all of this sort of stuff. But really, the first thing you've got to find out is where you are. Once you find out where you are, then you can plan the trip to France, right? And so it's kind of just like going to a shopping mall. If you want to find a shopping mall, the first thing you look for is the I am here pin, and then you can plan out your journey as to where you're going to go. That is the key to self-awareness, finding out where you are currently in your life. What values do you hold? What labels do you see the world through? What beliefs have you got about the world and who you are in the world? I liken it to a journey, which is why I love this conversation so much.
Having self-awareness means that I have a well-grounded sense of confidence and optimism and having a growth mindset, which are things that we talk about often with the kids and here on the Tiff and Tony Show. And I think for me, confidence is really important because it's not being egotistical. Kind of a slang term we can use for that is cocky. And usually those people that come across that way can feel off-putting to us. Confidence is not that way. Confidence, like healthy confidence, is just knowing who you are, knowing like your role and place in the world and being okay with that and not feeling like you need to prove anything to anyone else or have a certain level or type of success to be a good human. And that's one of the things I like about it. So there's a couple things I heard recently about self-awareness and why it's a key factor in reaching the success that you want in your life. And I'm just going to read it because I took some notes. I don't want to botch this. So it's surfacing and managing your self-limiting beliefs and fears. So self-limiting beliefs and fears, you know, so the things deep in our core, the lies that we tell ourselves, the labels that we or other people have put on ourselves, bringing those to the surface, processing them, managing them, and reminding ourselves that they don't have to hold us back and that we are bigger than those things. And I just think that that's really beautiful.
And it's a great exercise that we can challenge our listeners to right now. One of the things that I love to do is have people list out all of the labels, the beliefs they have about themselves. I'm not worthy. I'm an athlete. I'm lazy. I'm a classroom prankster. I'm the class clown. I get them to list them all, right? Every single one of them. And then I just ask them to look at them and say, is that really, truly who you are? So our challenge to you right now is make that list. Write that list of all of the labels, all of the beliefs that you have about yourself. And then go through each one of those labels and say, is it true? And do I want it, right? Because it's one of those things. Like I've struggled with self-worth for a very, very long time. Never felt that I was worthy until I started to surface it, until I started to talk about it, write it down. And I was like, oh, that's that worthless label coming back up again. And so what I've done is I've looked at it and I said, do I want that? And ultimately I don't. And so I cross it out and I replace it with the label or the belief that I really do want, which in my case is worthy. And I remind myself, I've got a non-profit that's been operating for 13 years now. I've got staff of 13. We serve 5,000 kids a year. I've got an excellent family, a loving family. We're close. My wife and I love each other. I love my kids and we get on well with each other. That makes me worthy because I can remind myself of that every day. So I love that idea of surfacing the limiting beliefs and the labels that we have.
Ultimately, self-awareness can help you become the person you want to be, right? Because no one's perfect. I think the first step of self-awareness is recognizing that you're not perfect and also recognizing that you're not alone in that and that it's okay. And I think it gives us the freedom to step into growth, the freedom to be a loving human, a healthy human, because you can't learn from your weaknesses and grow in those areas and grow in your strengths and know what you want in life and how you want to help people and all those things until you know yourself. And another thing that I've just learned along my journey of healing and going through therapy is that you can't help others unless you yourself are a healthy person, practicing self-care, loving yourself, helping yourself. And self-awareness is a huge, important, loving thing that you can do for yourself.
That is all wrapped up in a tidy bow there of what really self-awareness can do. And it helps you just make decisions on a daily basis. Like tie in your values into that now. Then suddenly the glasses that you put on to see the world, the lenses in which you see the world are clearer and focused because you've got rid of the self-limiting beliefs and the doubts. They'll still be there, right? Because that's somewhat healthy to have them, but you don't need to listen to them. But then you're putting on this lens of clarity to know what you stand for and what you want in the world. And we can talk about this next week, actually, this idea of creating a bigger picture than what you currently have so you can actually walk into a bigger meaning in the world. And so we can talk about that next week, but it all starts with self-belief.
And self-awareness, it's not only understanding what your emotions are, what your feelings are, what your actions are, what your personality is, and that lens that we see the world through, our perspective, but it's why. So why do I think these things? Why do I feel these things? Why do I have these emotions and act this way? And it can help us understand how us and our personality and our actions affect the world around us, because as we all know, or hopefully you know, maybe this is a reality check for you, but the world doesn't revolve around you. You are special and important and loved, and that is all true. And also, we live in a world where there's hopefully people around us, and everything that we do impacts the earth, the people, our environment, everything. You know, we don't live in a bubble. We live in a world surrounded by other living things. So if that's any encouragement to you, yes.
Well said.
Thank you. Well, we encourage you to take that challenge. Take some time, write down your self-limiting beliefs, those fears you have, labels, and really sit with it and think of and write down what you want. So this is the fear, this is the lie, but this is what I want to think. This is what I want to feel. This is who I want to be. And that is a great first step if you haven't started your self-awareness process journey. And also for anyone, it's good for anyone, no matter where you're at in life. You know, I could have had lies and fears that I was thinking 5 years ago, and maybe they're different now. So even if you've done this before, do it again. It's always helpful and always beneficial.
Love this challenge today. I love this conversation. It's more people need to be walking the journey of self-awareness.
Yes, I agree. Well, join us in this challenge, and we'll also see you all back here next week. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you very much, Tiffany.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining Tony and me in this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. We hope you feel encouraged and motivated to keep growing with us. If you like what we do here at Pure Game, one of the best ways you can support us is by liking and sharing this video with your friends on social media. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel using the button directly below this video on YouTube, and you can donate on our website, www.thepuregame.org. And with that, we'll see you right back here next week.